it's on.
Well, that was really nice. I mean, Mike, when he gave his speech about his mom there, and as we said, he doesn't believe in God, but he came right out and said, I don't, even though I don't believe in God, and went on from there. But it was really nice the way everything turned out, and the points that he made I thought were really interesting, were really valid. Right? What do you think?
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk for a little bit because I'm like a sympathetic crier. Someone starts crying and I start crying, but I think out of all the services I've ever been to, this was the hardest for me.
Why's that?
Because I lost a couple of friends right after high school. I think right after we started dating, I lost Dahlia and Amber, and then shortly after we lost Everett, he hung himself, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was just going to be a memorial service, like a celebration. I didn't realize that she had been cremated and that they were going to, at this particular church, they have a wall of people that have been cremated that they put in the little squares. So we didn't realize at the end that she was there and she was cremated and they were going to, physically put her in the walls of these church. And I think, as a former Catholic, I spent so much of my life going to church and singing, and I was in choir and everything, and now I'm an atheist, and it's hard for me to be in a church. It's really super hard for me to be in a church because I revert back to like all the old guilty feelings that I had of being in church and then turning away from God and all that. And I think the worst for me was just thinking about that, like, she was 70. Her birthday was tomorrow.
Yeah.
She would have been 71 tomorrow. And my mom is like, 15 years younger than her? I think my mom's like in her, I think she was born in 57. And, it's so difficult for me to accept that life just ends like that. That, like, you get put in a box and then people remember you and you get, like, put in a wall. And that's it. I just can't. I have a really hard time accepting that. So to see Mike go through that was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it just really made me miss my mom a lot. My mom and her are super close. We're not super close at all. But I miss her so much, and I wish that, we lived closer together, and I miss my grandmother, and I miss my sister, and it's like times like this where I'm like, we live so far away that if something happened to her, I mean, what's the last conversation we had? It's like I would never see her. I mean, it's just so much harder, I think, being away from my mom now. And going through that, and then Mike's nephew, when Mike's nephew Liam was talking, how, I'm gonna stop crying, how he just, like, broke down. It was so hard to watch Liam remember his grandmother and talk about how she would tell me certain things, and, I didn't understand why she said them, but I knew she said them because she loved us, It was just really hard to watch. And today really is like the circle of life, because while we were there, we found out that Jess had her baby.
Yeah.
And we knew that she was due the end of the month, but didn't know it would be today. So I'm excited to go to the hospital and show the world a different aspect of life. It's like we go from, like, cremating someone and putting them in a wall and remembering their life and everything, and dealing with, does God exist, and, and the bulk of the service being about how she's in a better place and she has a new body and eternal life. And I just wonder how much harder it is for Mike as an atheist to hear that, where basically the whole service is, don't worry, she's going to be okay. But he knows in his heart, in his belief system, that she's gone. I think that's the hardest part about being an atheist, is having to accept that when it's over, it's over.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it depends, because if you're, like, newly deconverted, I guess would be maybe the correct term for it. If you're, you know, a new atheist, you still have, you know, you might intellectually realize, okay, there is no God, but you still have all the psychology of what it was like growing up believing in God, believing in what happens after life ends. But you know, once you've had that belief system for a while and you've started going through and figuring out, you know, you realize that, you know, what it is that you enjoy about other people and what you value in them is the experiences you had with them and the memories and stuff, and that stuff never goes away. You have that, you know, well, until you die, I guess.
Right.
So that keeps going. So Mike will always remember the, you know, the fun times that he had with his mom and the values that he saw in her. Those things will kind of continue on in him, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that that's really any harder, but he gets to enjoy that now rather than, you know, this whole she's in a better place waiting till he dies to, you know, hopefully meet her again, which won't happen. He gets to enjoy that now and the memories that he had.
Yeah. I think sometimes people don't realize how just because you're an atheist doesn't mean you're anti-God. It means that you're, you know, anti-God and pro-Satan. You know, it's a really difficult thing to be an atheist, and it's a really I think it's like a solitary life, you know what I mean? It's like you don't have that constant feeling of someone's with you all the time. You know, it's you and the world, and that's it. But I think when it comes to situations like today where, you know, we're remembering her life and everything, and, you know, Mike's now have to deal with this, that we're, it makes days like today, I think, that much harder for people that were raised Catholic or any sort of, like, strict religion, and now aren't, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna end this video and then pick up again when we get to the hospital, because crazy emotional day, but we're going to meet our new nephew.